Okay, CV joint. You have to excuse noises in the background. It's underneath a tin roof. The weather is Devon and it's June, so of course it's bloody raining. And the swallows are out of the nest. In fact, they're all back in it again now because I'm standing up underneath the desk, unfortunately. So you're going to hear Mum and Dad coming in and squawking and flying violently around my head and me shouting at them. So apologies for that up front. So what we've got here is an early type of CV joint out of a Range Rover front axle. The CV joints are used all over the place. It's mainly in drive shaft or prop shaft type situations. And all this CV joint allows is for the drive to continue going to the front hub while the steering's being turned. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do with this thing is I'm going to give it a damn good clean off because it's covered in a mixture of engine oil and one stop for some reason. Now, the first thing I'm noticing here is that this thing doesn't have any identifying marks on it. Basically, it's the same as one of these. And you can see there are differences. So I suspect this is a cheap pattern part. So what we've basically got is we have got the outer housing, we've got the inner housing, and we've got the cage. This ring here is the cage. And as it comes apart, you'll start to understand how these things go together. And what you then get is on the inside, the drive shaft goes in there and the hub lock carrier goes on the outside there, and that's what kind of, as you turn the steering, it allows the drive to go through. So these things, they do quite a lot. They're spinning at the same speed as the axle's spinning, and as you're turning, then of course they're spinning at different angles. So things start going all over the place. So, as I say, cage, outer housing, inner housing. Now what I generally do with these things is I generally just mark up, here comes the rain, just mark up, there's a bit of tissue paper there, mark up the orientation of this thing, because generally it can't spin on its axis. Okay, so that ball or that cage, that inner and outer are always in line with each other. Okay, although it might move slightly, but those three bits there are always in line with each other. So getting my pen that writes on turds, just here, I'm just going to draw 3 dots on the 3 components. That just gives me an alignment mechanism. These things, they're quite good. Ambersil, marker pen. Writes on a dog turd, honestly, it'll write on anything. And it right over top of grease and oil, and this one's almost run out. But it's been a faithful tool. So let's let that dry off for a minute. Right, to get these things apart then. Inner section, or the inner housing, and the outer housing. Inner housing needs to be more or less vertical, pointing straight out, and you adjust the cage as is appropriate to get the two. So if you notice, when I turn this thing around, I'm now going beyond its operational kind of direction. If I keep pushing down, we're kind of getting there now, but I need to really pull this inner housing up a little bit further. Sometimes a little bit of adjustment or a little bit of persuasion. No, let's try not to use screwdrivers, Richard. This thing might not be fucked. Here we go. Right, okay, so now, what I'm doing now, so I can see at the bottom there, that ball is right at the bottom of the, I can see this thing is fucked. This thing's properly fucked. I'll show you why in a second. So I've pushed it almost all the way up, and now if I actually put the screwdriver in there, I can pop that ball out. It's going to come out. It's coming. There he is. One ball. Boo! There's one ball out. Now all I need to do is to rotate to the next one and pop him out. Come on, you bastard. This thing's quite notchy, actually. I'm surprised that this thing is not going actually vertical, because normally I can get this thing vertically out, hanging out of the joint. Let's try just pushing it around. We may find that one of these balls is going to come out. The more balls that kind of come out, the easier the joint is to take apart. So what I'm going to do now is swivel this around. There we are. So that ball's now going to come out. And then we go back to flat. Let's work on this one next. fact, no, let's work on one of these over here, because they seem to, and if you notice that one there, it just clicked right up, comes out, no screwdriver needed. And now we're going vertical. So now, one more ball, we rotate him around until we get the last ball out. It's actually stuck in the cage. Right, I got fed up with this thing, I gave it a clean up. So let's get this thing apart now. So what we need to do is to get this inner housing out of the outer housing and leave the cage in place. The way I've done this is to turn the whole thing over. Now there's a reason I turn the whole thing over, it's because the opening on this side of the cage is wider than it is on the other side. So now there's no balls in there, you should be able to rotate the whole thing upside down. Right, so by inverting the whole cage and the inner section, you probably don't even have to rotate the inner section, rotate the cage. Next thing you'll find is if you invert, get the cage pointing up, well, you will notice that there's 6 holes that the balls go in around the edge. 2 of them, that are opposite each other, are wider. So it's a case of lining up one of these tooths on the inner housing with that wider part, pushing it into it, flattening the cage, and then pivoting or walking him out. There he comes. That's the inner housing out. To get the cage out, much the same sort of thing. Using those 2 wider slots, you literally get it upright and walk him out past 2 of the lugs. So it's basically what you do is get the larger holes in line with these tabs. And they come out like that. Okay, so that's how you disassemble one. Now, as far as the wear is concerned, in here, these channels here are where the balls roll up and down. And on this one, I can see that there's heavy wear patterns, 2 heavy wear patterns up and down each of these slots. There's also, I don't know if you can see this, there's also a groove that runs around the radius of the cup. That's where the kind of the straight ahead position is for the steering. There's a swallow shouting at me again. So it goes all the way around. Heavy wear patterns on here, where the cage has been rubbing against the outer housing. So that's the outer housing. The inner housing, much the same story. You probably see it a bit clearer on this. So what we got here is you can see the wear mark there, where the ball has worn itself a nice groove in the inner housing, and here. So a very faint line here, which is the straight ahead position. And on the side face here, you can see a wear pattern. So on this section here, that has been grinding against the outer housing in here on these big steps. Oh, Swallow, please give up. Stupid thing. Now, the other thing you can see on here is on the inside of the cage where the ball rests, you can see the ball has been fretting these faces. So it obviously has a very, very small contact face. The more this wears, and you can see there's quite a big wear area there. That's really noticeable, that one. Quite pitted, and here as well. So that's going to allow the ball to be loose inside the cage. This thing would have rattled, and there, look at that one. That's a beaut, that one. Can you see that? There we go. Knackered. Right, so this is a deaden. I'm not going to do anything with it, but maybe show you how it can go back together again. So going back together again, exactly the same scenario. You've got the 2 big smiley holes and the 4 more oval holes. So use the 2 big smiley holes, position them directly into the housing, and then rotate it so it's upside down, i.e. the dot's going away from you. And with a little bit of wiggling, it goes flat. So that's that one. Don't worry about the fact it's upside down, we can soon rotate it. Right, get this fella, find the wide slot, there it is, position the inner housing so that one of the teeth goes right the way through the wide slot. Notice, and then continue to pivot around and walk it in. And as you flatten the cage down, you'll see that the inner housing is now dropped right into the CV joint. You need to lift it slightly and then rotate it around. And now it's in place, but upside down. So now all we do is rotate the cage and the inner housing so it's all the right way up. Now, to get the balls back in, for now, you need to just pivot upwards and push the ball into the cage, and it clicks in. It's normally got a couple of dimples in there, not quite as big as the dimples it's got at the moment, and it allows you just to click the ball in. Sometimes why you need a screwdriver just to pry them out again. And each time you do a ball, you want the cage as far up as it will go and the inner housing as far up as it will go. Just working your way around. This one's particularly easy to put together because it's fucked. There are two more to do. The last one's always the most difficult, by the way. Always the last one. Because what's actually happening now is we're starting to find the wear marks. The balls are starting to find the wear marks on the housing as we're going around. Right, that should go in there. Sometimes you have to give them a little clout. Now that's not quite up high enough yet. So I need to flatten that down a bit, move the cage up. Let's do this one. Can't do one, move on to the next one. That's miles out. I can actually feel it clicking against all these wear markers. Right, that one can go in. He's in. And then, oh, that last one might just about go in. I've lost a ball. There it is. There we are, last one's in. And then flatten him. Now you can see he's there. And that's how to disassemble, assess, reassemble and listen. That should not be rattling. There's miles of play in that one.